non-European Union countries, the first part of your question, if you look at the pattern of the defense industry, you see that there are already very strong ties. So companies are already working cross-border. We do not have to reinvent the wheel. We have to think about a smart mechanism, how we can use this cooperation that is already established and at a high level of quality. I wish for more speed, but the level of quality is very high. We have made sure that the financing gap for the economic survival of Ukraine is closed. This in 2025, focusing on this year. And indeed, I mean, if you look at what the European Union delivered overall, it's 140 billion euros, and this includes the economic survival or stability of Ukraine in the year 2025. If you look at the military supply, 52 billion euros have been worth military equipment have been supplied to Ukraine, actually on par with the United States. Here we will have to step up without any question. This initiative, Rearm Europe, helps a lot because it gives in two ways at least, and the third one is the possibility of private investment also, possibilities to be faster and more targeted in supporting Ukraine. So the Security College will include all the commissioners because you've just given one very good explanation for it. But the second is, if I may say so, that almost every topic could be involved. If we think back 4 years, never would I have been able to foresee how topics can be instrumentalized to drive a hybrid attack against us. Let's start with Russian gas. 4 years ago, we saw that Gazprom is not filling the gas storages as it should, but we did not draw the right conclusions. That was before the war started. So we saw it, we were worried, but little did we know, or no idea did we have, that this is the beginning of a hybrid attack on European energy security in order to force us not to support Ukraine. So instrumentalizing the overdependency. And then, of course, the storages were not filled appropriately, and Putin cut us off the Russian gas. The same was 4 years ago, a bit more, or 3.5 years ago, before the war, when all of a sudden migrants, mostly from Iraq, were at the Polish border. And Putin knew very well at that time this was our soft spot, and used migrants to drive a hybrid attack. We were used already to massive cyber attacks and all these topics. But by that I want to say this is the Commissioner for Energy and is the Commissioner for Migration, for example. Without all this knowledge about hybrid attacks, we would never have thought in this wider sense. And therefore, the mindset of preparedness, as we have it displayed in the Niinistö report, that you have to be wider in analyzing the threats, is an important conditio sine qua non for the whole college, for the Security College. Security College convene in due time. I cannot tell you the exact date, I'm sorry. How often depends a lot on the urgency, of course. So it will be convened more often now than it would have been the case 4 years ago, for example. Important is that we get regular briefings from the relevant security services to be ahead of the curve and to remain ahead of the curve. So knowledge is important. In-depth knowledge of the security services is important. The analysis of the situation, the understanding what is coming, and of course then the political steer on different fronts where we have to deliver. I think it's important because I realize also in the discussion that we normally have in the college, we are very focused on the files that we deliver during that day. That's good. But this specific focus on what is the security landscape, what does the security landscape look like, where do I have to be attentive, what do I have to prepare potentially for something that is coming to be then able to deliver when it's necessary. The contact to President Zelenskyy and his staff is very, very close. And it's built on trust that has grown over the last 3 years. We've basically gone through thick and thin. So we know that we are reliable for each other in crises or extraordinary situations, and that we can most of the time find solutions. Not always, but most of the times we find solution while working very, very closely together. And of course, the talks that hopefully lead to a just and lasting peace, the talks around security guarantees, for example, are talks where we often also explore what is possible, what is in the first line. For example, the strongest security guarantee, of course, would be NATO membership. That is at the moment not possible. Then the second element, the most important, is a well-equipped, functioning Ukrainian army, armed forces. And then you can go into detail. So there's a lot of very fruitful discussion that we have. And, how do I say it in English, this is a common learning process also. Because, again, these are uncharted waters. And together we have to find the best solution.